In this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through the new construction scenario when you're using the ConDoc Tools for SketchUp Pro. So, in your ConDoc resources, you will see a series of SketchUp models called New Construction, and we've got one SketchUp model where the groups, we'll just say the model is grouped, and where it says just groups, and then it's grouped and layered in the second one, and then this last one is the groups and the layers and the scenes are all added. So basically what that allows you to do is just kind of poke around and test out the system. So if you'd like, you could open up the one that's just grouped, and then you can assign the layers and you can kind of practice setting that up. Or if you just want to practice running the script, which is what I'm going to do, or running the ConDoc tools, you want to open up groups and layers, and then we're going to add all the scenes in there. And so we'll go through this process and build the set. And then I've also included a layout document where the set is built, so you can kind of pick that apart too and take a look at that. So what we'll do here is open up the new construction file that's grouped and layered. And let's take a lap through it and kind of understand the, just really understand the model organization and what's happening here. So you can see this is the template. We have all on, all off, interior, exterior. All of our utility scenes are all set up here. And we do have all of our layers as well. So when I click on this first, on the roof, let's look at our entity info here. Okay, so I've selected the roof, and you can see that the roof is on the layer architectural roof. And I'm just going to hide it. And let's look at the next section here. So when I click on the second floor, you can see that this container, this group that holds everything for the second floor, is on the layer conceptual level 2. So let me double click in there. And then I'm going to hit Control H, and that's going to hide the rest of the model. Alright, so now when I select this, this is our CAD background, so that's on the conceptual background layer. That CAD background is what we use to build the model, or what I use to build the model. And you can see that we made a few design revisions, so it varies a little bit off that plan. But that's where you would put the background. And then when I select our walls, you can see that that's on architectural walls, windows, doors, you know, all the same kind of setup. But let's go inside of our walls. And now inside the walls, you can see we've further broken that down into another group that's on the layer exterior and another group that's on the layer interior. So that is the basic model organization strategy that you need to worry about, or that you need to employ to use this system and use the ConDoc tools successfully. So once you get the logic behind it, it's pretty fast to keep the model organized, and when you organize a model in this way, it makes it very usable. So what we're going to do now is run the plan generator. So I've got my ConDoc tools installed, and I'll open up this first one. We're going to generate a new plan. Let me just make sure we don't have any section planes already in there, so we're good. Everything's cleaned up. Let's fire up the plan generator. Now, this house has 2 stories to it. So the first level starts, let's just say it starts at 3 feet, and then the second level is at 14 feet. All right, and then I choose which plans I want. So in this scenario, let's just make all of our plans. We're just going to make the construction plan, the roof plan, but you guys might want to practice creating these other ones too. Really pretty simple once we get into layout. So we are all set to run the script here. I'll set up our project, and now we've generated a bunch of scenes. So now you can see we have construction plan, light, heavy, reflected ceiling plan, furniture, and then the roof plan comes in at the end. So what I typically do is, if I go look at construction plan 01 heavy, I'm not seeing anything. Well, it's not that the geometry is turned off, it's just off the page, we'll say. So I'm going to do a zoom extents. I'll hit camera and zoom extents, and now that entire heavy plan is on my page. So what I'm going to do now is select all of my plan scenes, and I want to update all of my plans at the same time, and the only thing I want to update is the camera location. That way all my plans are exactly the same, and then I can actually see the geometry. So the viewports will stack. Now that's an extra step. You don't have to do that. I just like to be able to see the geometry that's being stacked to create a drawing. So that's why I do that. But certainly it would work just the same, and no problem there if you did not do this step. So Now what I'm going to do, we've set all that up, so we can go all on. I can go to design, and then I can go to camera perspective, and there we go. So now that's all it takes to run the script. And so ideally, you're not going to really be too concerned about these scenes. They're just going to kind of work. But what we do want to do is take a look at our section planes and make sure that all of our section planes are landing where they're supposed to. So just by the nature of the way that this plugin works, this first section plane that's added down low is not needed. It just has to add one. And so you could delete it or you could leave it. Doesn't matter, but I just delete it because I know I don't need it. It won't hurt anything if you leave that in there. Now, the next thing I want to do is double click on this section plane, this first one here, the lowest one. And now I can look at it and see where it's hitting. So I just want to make sure that it's cutting through all of my windows and, you know, not missing a window above or below. And so it looks like everything's in good shape there. By default, the plan generator adds these section planes, I think it's like 3 or 4 feet above where you defined your floor height. All right, so now I want to do the same thing for the next section plane, and this one is a reflected ceiling plan. So now I can kind of zoom in and look at this, and this one needs just a little bit of adjustment. So I'm going to move that down. I want it to be just above the doors. So here you can see I'm catching the windows. I actually want that to be just above windows and doors, but just below the ceiling. So like that looks pretty good right there. All right, so now the next one I'll look at. Let's just back out a little bit. There we go. So now here's our second floor. Now on this one, I know there is a special consideration for this circular window because I want that to kind of sit up and cut right through like that. Cool. All right, so now we're catching all our windows. We're cutting through all our door openings. Everything looks pretty good there. So I think we're set with that one. And then the last step is our final reflected ceiling plan, and let me just move that down. Again, I want to be just above our doors. So just above our doors, and just catch it so that there's no openings in our walls. So there's our reflected ceiling plan. All right, so now we'll turn off our section planes, and so everything's pretty much set up. Now we do also want to run or add some elevations and sections. So you've got these other tools, and this is pretty cool the way this works. So I'm just going to scroll all of these scenes over so we can see what happens. We're going to add some elevations. So I'll click once here, and okay, so let me do a save as. Actually, I'm going to save as to my desktop temp, and I'm just going to call this one delete. We'll overwrite that. That's the one I was working on. All right, just because I don't want to mess up my base file, I'm going to work in this one, and then I'm going to trash it. So to add an elevation, I click on the elevation tool, and then the way that this tool works is if I click on this surface, it's actually going to add a section plane 5 feet off the surface. So that way, it's going to cut through our site. So watch what happens when I click. All right, so now it gives me a zoom extents, backs all the way out, and it adds a scene. So you can see here the numbering got a little bit messed up because I've already been working in this file, but it's really no big deal. We're just going to roll with this. We'll rename these scenes when we're done. So that one looks good, and then let's add another elevation, and I'll just throw that one right there. And you can see it's numbering those elevations for me. And let's get this other side. So we'll add one right there. And then let's do one more right on the front like that. Oh, let me undo that. We want to do our elevation tool like that. Okay. Now the same thing, just like I did that zoom extents with the plans, I just like to kind of zoom in on these, and then I'll just update, and then go to this one and zoom in, and then we'll update, and go here and zoom in and update and grab this last one. And the nice thing is that you do this one time and you're done. So let's update that one. All right, so you don't have to keep on messing with your elevations once they're created. The other thing I do want to do is let's just rename these scenes. So the plan generator, I was already messing with this file a little bit, so it started the numbering not where I want it, but that's no big deal. We can just back this up and call this elevation 1. And then we've got elevation 2, 3, and we got to name them 04. So it's got to be, the naming conventions are very important. You want to stick with exactly the way that the plan generator and the tools are naming these scenes, because otherwise they will not sync with the scrapbooks once we get the layout. So let me save this. It's always a good idea to save before and after running the plan generator for sure. Just a good idea to save it, run it, and then save it again, and just in case there's any crashes or anything. So we're in pretty good shape now. So we got elevation 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to add one more section cut. So we do have this section tool. And when I add the section cut, I'll just go right down the middle of the roof here. So check it out. We named that one. Same thing's happening. It's called section CC. I'm just going to change the name of that to section AA and hit enter. But if you're starting out with a fresh file, that's not going to happen for you. That's just the way that, since I already ran the script already, it's kind of goofing up my naming system here. Okay, so let's just do that one more time. We're going to update this and save. Actually, before I save it, I am going to go back. I always make it a habit to go to All On, Design, and let's set up our perspective that way. Cool. All right, so now I can, let's just save this. I'll close it, save it. All right, so we've done our work in SketchUp, and now we need to build our set in Layout. So here we are in Layout. I'll go to File, New. Start a new document. I'm going to use a template. You guys will have this in your resources as well. I'm going to use the SketchUp Workflow for Architecture 11:17 Landscape Presentation Style. Okay. So now, I just need to build my set using our ConDoc scrapbooks. So on the construction plan, so we're going to add our two construction plans, a roof plan, 4 elevations, and a section as well. So watch how fast you can build these sets. So first, let's go with 1/8 inch, level 1. And so I just click on this scrapbook, and then I click to place it. And then I'll add a page. Go to the next level, level 2, 1/8 inch plan. Let's add that. Add another page, and if I scoot all the way to the end, level 3, 4, and then here's our roof plan, I can add an 1/8 inch roof plan as well. So then that drops in. We'll add another page, and now let's go look at our elevations. So I go back to my ConDoc scrapbooks, and here we have our elevation. Okay, so elevation 1, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, I forget how many we went up to, but there's quite a few in there. So right now we just really need 4, so we'll go with 1/8 inch elevation 1, and let me just drop that guy right up here. And we'll go to elevation 2 and drop an 1/8 inch elevation right here. Add a page. Elevation 3 and elevation 4. So we'll just elevation 4. Add an 1/8 inch elevation there. Okay, and let's add one more page, and then we'll go to our section. So now we ConDoc section scrapbook, and we're going to add section AA. So you can see here we're on AA, and this goes all the way up to, I think it goes to ZZ. So 1/8 inch section AA. We'll just drop that right in the middle of our page. Okay, so we are good to go here. So if you check out our entire set, you can see we've added several pages. And as I go through here, you know, you might decide to rename your pages. Those will link up with the drawing titles and different things. But for this example, I just want to show you how to add the scrapbooks, relink your file, and just make it work so you have drawings. Okay, so we've built our entire set. You can see that. And now I'm going to go to File, Document Setup, References, and we need to relink this file. So you can see relink this file and relink this file. So both of those are going to need to be relinked to our design project. And if you remember, we called it delete and I saved mine into my temp folder because I know it's a throwaway model. You guys might want to save it somewhere more important. So I'll just select that, choose relink, and then here we are at my temp folder, delete, and choose open. All right, so now that refreshes and you can see our plan starting to pop in. But we do also want to relink this one as well. So I'll click relink and choose delete. And watch what happens. These two references merge together. That's pretty slick. So now we can close this, and all I need to do is click and drag and expand these viewports out to see the drawings. So there we go. Now I can rotate it. We'll go clockwise. And there's our first plan. And check it out. We've got our hatching is in there. If your hatch for the walls doesn't look so great, keep in mind that's just your edit quality setting. So this, if I were to change my document setup under paper and choose the edit quality, set that to high, that's going to clean up and look the way it should. But for editing, for working on a set, you don't want to have that extra render time. But when we export it, it will come out as high res. All right, so then let's keep moving through here. You've got we can pull out this one as well, and we'll rotate that around. And if you notice on this one, let me get that snap back into place. On this one, this is truly a second floor plan, but I kind of like to see all the roof detail on this floor plan. So I'll show you how we can do that. You have full control over these drawings. I mean, the scrapbooks, it's a great start. It's like everything's all stacked in place and linked up, and your line weights are set, and the drawing scale and all that stuff. But it doesn't mean that you can't edit it still. I mean, it's just layout viewports, and you can pull them apart and do whatever you want to them. So I'll show you how to get that roof in there too. All right, so next page, this is our roof plan, and we'll just kind of, we could even consider that a site plan, something like that. All right, so that looks good. Keep on going here, our elevations. All right, so here's one. Just make that real big. I'm holding down Alt on the PC, and that's what allows me to scale it from the center point like that. So I'll do the same thing here, and I'm just kind of guessing, but I've done this a couple times now, just practicing, so I kind of know where they need to be. All right, so that looks pretty good. Cool, there's our elevations. On the next page, same deal here. There we go. All right, and so the interesting thing about the elevation and section scrapbooks is that they're just simply, they're not stacked. They're not bundled into a group. So really it's just a viewport. So you can see the render model, edit 3D view. You can see the properties of that viewport. So it's not a group, it's actually a viewport, which means you could put a clipping mask on there, or what I like to do is I just draw a line. I'll go to my shape style. Our line is going to be, let's call it 5 on the stroke, and then I'll just zoom in here, and you can see I can snap to this line, hold down Shift to draw straight on axis, and then I can select this viewport and snap that viewport to that baseline I drew. That way I'm not going to get those little artifacts hanging down low there. So that's how I set up my elevations, and once you put them in place, you're good to go. Start noting them up, and it's okay to make design revisions. They'll just stay there as long as you don't mess with your scenes in SketchUp. So, all right, last page. Here's a section. All right, there's our section. Cool. So that looks pretty good. For sections right now, you really just need to hatch these using the line tool and layout. So usually I leave that till the very end. I have been experimenting with the scalp plugin, which is really cool, but haven't quite got it all solved as to the best way to apply with this system. But so now check out our set. We are all good to go. everything all put in place. All of our viewports are stacked and optimized. Pretty quick process, but I want to show you that it is possible to edit things. So like, for instance, this plan, I want to go back into SketchUp, and that's just an empty window. I'm actually going to edit this model, so I can go to File, Document Setup. Under References, here's my my reference. When I select it in here, it lights up the viewport, and I'll just click on Edit, and that's going to automatically open SketchUp. Alright, I got a couple extra Ruby scripts in there. And we're good to go. So now I want to go and look at my second floor plan. So we'll go to Construction Plan 02 Heavy. That's our reflected ceiling plan. Construction Plan 02 Heavy. There it is. Now I want to go to my layers and turn on my roof. So that's under Architectural Roof. We'll turn that on. So now I have that roof in there as well, and all I need to do is update that scene. So now I can close this and save it and watch what happens to my roof plan. That should just render in there just the way I want it to. Perfect. Cool. So keep in mind, the ConDoc Tools are not a replacement for reading the SketchUp workflow for architecture. That book is definitely the manual. That's the under the hood explanation of how all this stuff comes together. The ConDoc Tools expedite it, and it does make your life a lot easier, but it's even better if you understand the system and you're able to tweak it and create these other drawings that you need. But you're still keeping the efficiency, because the ConDoc Tools, the scrapbooks and the plugins, they get you that jump start you need to make it happen quick. So that is our new construction scenario, and we'll be coming out with a renovation scenario very soon. So definitely feel free to send your feedback anytime. Please participate on those forums. If you have questions, just throw them out there. I'm very interested to hear how things are going and see your work. So we'll be talking to you soon. Thank you.